Hello friends, welcome to Miss Lori's Craft Room. I haven't had time or the energy to post any new tutorials for a while. I've been really sick this year, and we moved into a new house, and so we've been working on that. But we're all settled and I'm ready to go. So I have some really exciting news. I get to go to the Crazy Crafter Convention in Alabama in August, and I sure would love to see and meet some of you. I'll be doing flower tutorials, classes. I'll be doing a giant flower and 5 different flowers in another class. I'll post the link to that convention in the description. So today we're going to do this giant flower. You can't really see the whole thing. It's about, let's see, 18 by 24 inches in size. It's huge. So this one is not glued together. This is the one that we are going to be assembling though. So I'm going to take it apart for you and show you what we did. So this file is going to be available at my store, and I will post that in the description. So I'm going to move this to the side and I'm going to show you what we started with, okay? Okay, so this file includes, there's my pad, I'm searching for this everywhere. Okay, this file includes the largest petal. Let me adjust a little bit, you guys. This is new setup here, so. Okay, the largest petal, you've got 5 different petal sizes, okay? And then you're also, in the file includes this one and this one, and also this small one, and that's what you're going to use to make the center. Okay, so let's get started. So of course, as always, you don't have to ink. You know, if you follow me, you know that I love inking, and I loved how it makes it look real. It just brings so much life to your project. Of course, I'm going to show you this technique, but we're not going to spend a lot of time doing it today, okay? So what I did today was I cut out myself, of the 5 petals, I cut a stencil. I cut 1 of each, and I used them and I hand cut. So let me just show you how I did that. So what I did was I just put it on the piece of paper, and I did use 12 by 12 paper today, and this paper just comes from Joann's. I think it's what the brand is, what, the Recollections or whatever. So I just put it on here, and you know, because it's a flower, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. So if you want to use your Cricut to cut this out, by all means do it. But this way, if you use the scissors, you can stack probably at least 4 of this thinner paper and cut 4 each at a time. See how fast and simple that is? Okay, so I am going to set this aside. So, and of course these I did just cut with my Cricut, and you need 2 each. In my design, for each size you need 2 each, okay? But of course you can make it as thick or as full as you want. Okay, so in this design I did this giant flower, and this is sized, so it should size exactly right. My file is sized to this size. It will make you a 24-inch flower. Okay, so I did 7 of each of these, okay, of all the ones that come with it, but only 2 each of these, and I did 5 of the little petals, okay? So I'm going to set my templates aside, and I am going to spend just a small time inking to show, if you haven't seen it, how I did it. So today I'm using a dauber, and I'm using Tim Holtz Distressed Ink Old Paper, and this is almost out of ink, so I'm not getting very much. If you can look at the petals, you can see I'm not sure how good it's seen, but you'll see that I did the pink and then I did the edge in the old paper. I want it to look antiqued, like it was an antique rose, okay? Okay, excuse me. So what I did was you can use any ink, of course. This is dye ink. I prefer that for paper, but you can use an embossing ink, like this is an embossing ink. Whatever you have actually will work, okay? Tim Holtz also makes these little ones, and I love these. If you have a scrapbook store close to you, they probably sell them individually. Joann's and Michael's has them in packs of 5 of different colors. So my dauber is kind of worn, you can see that. But so you're not going to push too hard, because on this flower, I wanted it to be soft colors. So we're just going to slowly, just softly do it. Okay, and I did this to both sides of the petal, if you'll see. And I just did the tip. So I just did the edges of both sides of each petal. Because they're both good. It's going to be flipped up, so you want color on both sides. All right, so you're just going to go and you're going to just get all your petals. Okay, and if you want it darker, you can really get some more ink. And see, and you could even get another darker color and add more. So you can see how you can really get it dark by just pushing harder and getting more ink. See that? So it's really going to be up to you and how much you want to do. Now, if you're going to do, 10 of these, I probably wouldn't ink it. I would only ink it just a little bit. So let me show you another way you can ink to if you want it to be bolder. You can take your ink pad in your hand and take your flower. And of course this way is really fast. But you're not going to get the subtlety that you're going to get. Now this is dark, but it will dry it much lighter. But if you can see the difference, this is very subtle and this is very bold, okay? So then I used the Tim Holtz, and I did use it just from the pad because it's really dead. It's like has hardly any ink left on it, so I had to really push hard. So I'm just going to add it to the edges because I want it to look antique-y. And I only did this one on one side, the side that I was going to roll up, okay? Okay, so now you have to do that. If you're going to do that, you have to do it to all the petals. So let me grab my other petals, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so now then let me show you the base. So the base of this is a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, and you need that. You need that big of a base because most of these are going to be hung on the wall, and you need them to have a really good base, okay? Okay, so let's pretend this one is already curled. I grabbed one that's curled. Okay, so I'm just using my glue stick, okay? And you can use anything round, but not too fat. Now on most of the petals, I used this one. On the smaller petals, on these, I used a marker because it was thinner, because these needed to be smaller. Okay, so on these, I just put it on kind of on an angle, and I'm just rolling it. And I just rolled the whole thing, and I just kind of hold it. And see, because paper is just so great. See, so you can see how it's just kind of curled up on one edge. That's what I want. I want it to just have just that angle. I'm going to show you on the big part. See how they all kind of are just on one side. They kind of all rolled up. Okay. So you're going to do this to every single petal in your flower. Okay. And then on these smaller ones, I took the smaller pen, or you can even use your tweezers. If you want it to curl up a lot, your tweezers are a really good choice. Okay, but not everybody has tweezers. Okay, so these are what's called reverse action straight nose tweezers. They are my best friend. Okay, I use them every day constantly because I use them to hold everything. Because if you see, they hold without squeezing it. So you don't have that tiredness in your hands. Okay, so you do this to all of these. So, okay, this flower could not be easier. Giant flowers are so simple. The hardest part of mine, and let me show you what I did. Now, you don't have to do that. Make it this way. If you see the center of mine, I made mine stand up so it looks a little bit more like a rose. Now, if you didn't want to do that, you could just size your petal, this petal down till it's smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it would just all be soft right in the center, and it would just keep going. And you could even pull this petal up more. See, if you take this petal, so as it gets smaller, I would probably do that more, and that will create your center. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So, but I'm going to show you how I made this center. I made mine to look like a rose petal, okay? So, there's a couple different ways you can do this, okay? What I did is I like to distress the petals for the center a lot because it makes them easier to manipulate, because then you're going to break down the fibers in them, okay? So, this is my tool, and you can buy these they have them at Hobby Lobby. This pad and this tool and tweezers, and all come in the pad is separate, but the tools and the tweezers come in a pack, and they have them at Hobby Lobby, and they also have them at Amazon. McGill is the name of them. So they're if you look up paper distressing tools, you'll find them. Okay, so I'm going to show you two different ways to do this, but I use the big ball on this one, and I'm literally just going to do it hard. See, I'm breaking down the fibers in these. Okay. Okay, so that's the way, and that broke down the fibers in those, and it's going to make them easier to form the little stand-up-y petal. Okay, because you can see how much it looks like a little rose, a rose in the center. All right, so we're going to set this aside. Now, another way you can just do it is you can just use your tweezers. If I can get a hold of it. And you can just give it a good roll. And you can do it that way too, okay? It's going to be a little bit harder to, manipulate them around if they're not broken down, but it's doable, okay? So I'm just going to quickly put a little ink on these so that you can kind of see the edges a little more as I do it. And when you distress, if you distressed it with a distressing tool, then it'll pick up all the creases that you made will pick up color too. So, okay. So this is going to be just a little tricky, and it's not hard, but it just takes a little practice, okay? Oh, I forgot to tell you, another thing is you need a hot glue gun. The way you assemble these is with hot glue, okay? Okay, so the first one we're going to roll down. We're going to take it on the side. See, I have it on the side. And I'm going to roll it hard because I'm going to make the center. Okay, see how I'm leaving a flap? I want to leave a flap because this is the center, and we're going to build the rest of it around it. So I'm just going to put a touch of glue, and I'm just going to use that, and I'm just going to press it. And hot glue is amazing because it's almost instant, okay? Okay, so then I'm going to squeeze. I squeeze the bottom, but I'm leaving the flap. Okay, so now we're going to take the next petal. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to keep offsetting them in the center. So I'm going to put some glue. Glue strings. All right, and then I'm going to, in the open opposite of where I did, I'm going to just, sorry guys, this is going to be iffy. So I'm just cupping it around it. See how I just cupped it around it? So I just took it and I just cupped it around it. Okay, I just made it. I'm making them hug each other. Okay, and you can even just squish this down. Okay, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to wait till it's cooled off. Okay, so now I'm going to, and before I go any farther, I'm going to use my fingers and I'm just going to pull over that petal. So it makes a pretty soft petal. So if you did not break down the fibers in the paper, it would rip. Okay, that's why I break down the fibers. Okay, so some of my glue didn't get in the right spot, so I'm just going to add a little more. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to do the same with the next petal. And I'm going about half, 3/4 of the way up on these petals. So now you can see I'm going to just hug it to the other side, opposite of what I just did. Sorry if I'm all fingers, you guys. My fingers fall asleep really easily. So, okay, see, so I'm just hugging it to it. And then as it's cooling, I'm just going to use my fingers again and just make it come down like that. Okay, so now I'm going to come on this side. So I've got one on each side of it, and then I'm going to put the next one over here. Okay, it kind of went, if it goes off to the side a bit, it's absolutely fine, because it's a flower and it's a nature and it's not, you know, perfect. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. I just love making roses. Okay, so the very last one. And then we're gonna hug it up like this. Ooh, my hands are falling asleep. I was like, trying not to get burned. Okay, so I'm just grabbing it from the bottom and schmucking it. Kind of squishing it, okay? All right, you see that? Look at that. We made a little simple rose with just 5 little petals. This is a rose center, okay? So right now I'm going to set this aside and we're going to start gluing our big flower together, okay? So you guys are just going to have to be patient with me because I didn't assemble it for you, so I want you guys to watch me. Okay, so I'm going to start with the big one. Let me gather up my petals. I didn't make a sample one. I just left it apart because honestly, I didn't want to use that much paper. It took a lot of paper. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly pull my flowers apart and get them in a stack. I just make a nice, I like to be organized in my endeavors. I'm going to quickly be patient with me, guys. I know I hate when people waste my time too. Okay, I guess I should have just gone ahead and glued some of this together, but I didn't, but it will go fast. I wanted you to see how fast it is, okay? It really goes super, super, super fast. And I also wanted to do it, the whole thing for you, because this is going to hang up on a wall, if you don't glue it right, the petals will just go and fall down, and you'll be very unhappy with your project, okay? So I really wanted to show you how I will get them the way. Okay, so here's our 12 by 12. And what I would do, I recommend, is just doing a dry run on your first one, okay? So I put one down. Can you guys even see? I can't even see that. Can you even see that? Oh, sorry. Let's do it where I can see. Getting used to where the new camera is, you guys. Gonna have to have my husband build me a thing so he can be up higher. Okay, so all right, move to the side. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a dry run down. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put glue all the way up to like 3/4 of the way up. Okay, and of course, because I haven't done any tutorials for a while, I didn't get myself prepared enough. Okay, so I'm going to go about halfway in on this cardstock. So excuse me, I grab some more glue sticks. All right, here we go. Okay, so for the rest of them, I'm going to do just a little bit of a dry run so we can see, because we need to overlap. Okay, so we're going to overlap. Can you see how it's kind of overlapping? So you want to go all the way around. I should have used a dark red for this. Oh, that's the wrong size. Okay, so this is why you just do a dry run of it, so you can get a good idea, because then you won't be all glued down. And I know you guys really can't see that because it's all white, but there, you see that? Okay, so I'm just gonna, I'll just take these off, because you'll get it. It's pretty simple. Okay, and so the same thing. Get a good amount of glue and make sure you want it to be, see how it's kind of, it's about a quarter and it's at an angle, okay? I know, sorry, this is boring, guys, so just, ouch! As you can see, I am not super careful with the glue. It's really, you know, it's really not, you're not going to see any of this part, so you won't see the underside, so. You're probably going to go through quite a few sticks of glue on this one, because this is a giant. This is one of the big flowers. I've actually made one even bigger than this. You could do, if you wanted it bigger, size it up to go to fit on a 12 by 12 paper, and then one big one on a 12 by 12. If you wanted to make one of these that was like 3 or 4 feet, size your first petal to fit a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and you will get a big giant one. Okay, so now the next one is that we're just going to do the same thing, and what I do is, remember, when you do it, you want to offset. Never, you don't want to place it like this. You want to set it, offset it like this. Okay, so this is where your gluing is going to be important. So I'm going to say is that you need to go at least halfway up. So because when you lift it up, see how the petal is going to fall forward. So you want to glue it. See, if you don't glue it enough, it's going to go boingy. So you want to glue it enough like that. Now you are going to be able to go back and glue it more if you need to, you know. All right. If I knew how to pause my camera, I would just pause it and just quickly do all this. See, we're out of glue. You're going to need quite a few glue sticks on this one. All right. Okay, so now we'll go down to the next one. Okay, and so you're just going to do exactly the same thing. You're just going to offset it and go at least, I would go more than half on this one. Okay, because this is going to be so that it does not fall forward, so that when you have it, you'll have a beautiful display. Could you imagine a whole wall of these, or an arch of these for your wedding? Oh, my niece is getting married pretty soon, and she's getting married, of course, in a really beautiful place that's got real flowers, so she won't need this. But if you weren't getting married somewhere like that, you could really have just a super, super beautiful wedding with these. You could get married in front of it, or you could have where you get your pictures taken in front of it. It would be so pretty. It would be just really pretty. So we're going to go on to the next and see how I'm just offsetting it again. What do you guys think? Do you think this is pretty? I sure hope you think it's pretty. I just love it. Now, as I said, this file is available on my Etsy store for only $2. So it's very reasonable. And I actually have, I'm going to be doing more tutorials this week with my other, because I think right now I have 5 different giant flowers for sale in my store. And I would like to have a tutorial for every one, because that way people will know what to do. Now, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's been about 7 for each layer. Okay, see how fast this goes? It's so fast. Honestly, if you don't ink it, like I did, you could have this done in an hour. You could get this done in like an hour. If you ink them, plan on a little bit more than that. It took me a lot longer to ink it. But I can't hardly stand to leave anything plain. That's why I love paper. So I would just love it if some of you guys were able to come to Alabama for this great Cricut convention. It is going to be so cool. I'm so honored to have been asked to get to teach. I've never gotten to do something in such a big scale before at a convention. So I'm very honored. So see, I'm just offsetting these two. All right. So now one thing, I already glued mine center on here, but I'm going to show you how I did that. Okay. All right. So if I can find the center we just made in this mess. Okay. So this is the center that we made. Now, if you can see, it's too tall. See how too tall it is. So all I did was I took my good scissors and I cut it down about a ½ inch. Now, if some of your petals come off, just hot glue them back on. Then I just put a good amount of hot glue and I stuck it in the center. Okay, so isn't that beautiful? I just think I sound so prideful when I say that, but I am proud. I'm proud of my work. So I hope you come back and look at my other tutorials, and God bless you guys. Have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.